3 weeks, 3 attempts. This is what learning actually looks like. For the longest time, I thought art was my passion. Then I realized it wasn't art, it was learning itself. Pencil sketch, 3D origami, expandable paper sculpture, pastel work, digital art, stippling, building a sofa, blockchain development, electronics, teaching stock market. Even in art, I never stuck to one thing. I always had to try something new. So I stopped fighting it. I am Bharat Gowda. Every skill I learn and prove earns me a badge. One person, every skill, no finish line, no formal training, no perfect plans, just honest documentation. This is the Curiosity Project. Let's learn something new. Right now, I'm working on the Badge Inkster where I'm learning tattooing from scratch. Attempt 1 had some progress. This is attempt 2 of 3 where I'm playing with colors. This time I did a bit of research on color filling and blending. There's a great video on Tattooing 101, link is in the description. I placed the stencil over the skin to estimate the area for transfer. This time the stencil solution was not spread evenly, so it blended in the places where there was too much and lines were not clear where there wasn't enough. After using the hairdryer to dry the stencil, the lines faded even more. So I redrew the lines that weren't clear, referring to the printout in hand. Then I prepared the workstation, used cling wrap on it, put on gloves and set up the machine. I chose a 7 round liner for this job and set the needle depth for 3 mm. I fixed it in a place using grip bandage, then wrapped the whole machine with cling wrap to protect it from ink. I also wrapped tissue paper around the grip with bandage to increase the size of hold for comfort. All prepared, straight into lines. Starting from bottom right with Charmander, even though the needle was spitting out too much of ink initially, the lines were fine, but later it wasn't feeling right. So I decided to switch needles. I switched to a 5 round liner. That seemed right, and I redrew a few lines. While stretching the skin, I accidentally spilled the ink, which is exactly why it is important to use cling wrap or a dental bib. I cleaned it up, refilled the ink, and continued. While wiping off the excess ink, the stencil kept fading, so I had to redraw whenever necessary. After a few lines, I noticed that the needle was not holding ink at all. I had to reload after literally not even an inch of line work. The machine was set at 7 volts and my hand movement wasn't matching the voltage, so I reduced it to 6. I thought that could be the culprit, but it wasn't. So I switched the needle again, this time to a 3 round liner. That felt right. I think it was the combination of voltage and needle that made it click, and after that, the line work just flowed. Just like that, lines are done. This work was done across 2 days. The line work took around an hour and a half to complete. I chose a 9 round shader to start with filling. The needle was about 2 mm out. I didn't tweak anything and went for light to dark shade. With Vaseline on my left hand for ease access. This was day 4 of tattooing in total, and I was figuring out ways to make things easier, keeping ink away from where my hands move a lot to avoid accidents. I started with white since it was the lightest color, but I think that was a bad idea. I'll explain that later. I started filling the highlights in the Pokeball first to get the feel for the shader needle since this was my first time using one. It felt promising, the colors was vibrant, the fill was clean, but when I went to fill the white area of the Pokeball, it didn't feel the same. The white wasn't as vibrant and rich as the highlight. I think the black border ink had bled into the whites, which wasn't an issue with the highlight since there was no border around it. This theory proved to be true when I moved to the eyes and nails. The area was too tight between the lines and fill area, so the black leaked in and made it messy. So I stopped, thought for a bit, and started cleaning the needle. That was satisfying. Next, I picked up the lightest remaining color, yellow, for the flames. All the inks I am using are from a brand called Dynamics. Most tattoo artists recommend it. These are definitely not cheap. Using the same needle, I started filling the yellow parts of the flames, slow and steady in small circular motions. The inks are very vibrant and the fill came out good. First Charmander, then Charmeleon, and finally Charizard. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite Pokemon. That's all. The yellow parts are done. Now I'm dumping some yellow into white container, mixed well, then added some red into the yellow, mixed it again, and watched it go from orange to yellow. Then I took a fresh container, picked some red from the second container, added a bit of white, and mixed well. It turned from white to light pink. Why? I don't know. I don't plan everything, I just do what feels right in the moment. But this is satisfying. The light pink was for the belly area of all three Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard, except once on the skin, it didn't stay light. This was not the color I had in mind or in my reference. But moving on, I mixed the custom yellow tint with red and blended it in well. Cleaned the needle, not as satisfying this time. Time for the reds, started with the Pokeball. Nice. And then the flames. Mixed the yellow with red again, cleaned the needle. It doesn't work every time, does it? Started with Charmander, but felt it was a bit dark, so I mixed the orange with yellow, applying the new shade. Even though colors looked a bit light in the container, on the skin it went dark. And this shade worked. So I redid the face with the same shade. Didn't think that would work, but somehow it did. Use the same color for some highlights on Charmeleon and shadows on Charizard. Done with that, now I'm mixing the light pink with orange to make it a bit lighter. Used it to fill Charizard, it didn't differ much from the shadows, so I lightened it up a bit more and did the rest. Then mixed orange with red for a darker orange. Wasn't enough, so I added a bit more red. Used that to fill the rest of the Charmeleon and same color for both Charmander and Charizard's mouths. Wasn't satisfied with the shadows, so I redid those. Time for Charizard's wings. I used blue for the lighter part of the wings. As usual, inks go darker on the skin. For the darker area, I mixed a bit of red with the blue to make it a slightly muddy blue and used that for the shadow areas. Done. Finally, black for the Pokeball and the eyes. This is where I realized why starting with white was a bad idea. After wiping the excess black ink, the surrounding white filled areas caught those pigment and turned messy. After the black, it was time to add the highlights. And finally, after 3 hours 46 minutes of coloring, that's a wrap. Wait, 3 hours 46 minutes just to fill colors? Two things I took away from this. Firstly, I started with a 9 round shader for the tight spots and planned to switch to a magnum later, which I never did. If I had used a magnum instead of a shader, the fills would not have taken that long. Secondly, it's better to pre-mix colors beforehand and test them on a separate skin before going in on the actual work. Did I overestimate my abilities and chew more than what I could swallow? Maybe, but this is how I have always worked. Pick something ambitious, figure it out in the middle of doing it, see what happens. Attempt 0 was a disaster, attempt 1 was progress, attempt 2, 3 hours 46 minutes of color later, this is where we are. Not perfect, but I didn't expect perfect. Attempt 3 is the last one, and I'm not making it easy for myself. Badge Inkster, 1 attempt left. And honestly, I don't know if I'm ready. Find out next Monday. This is attempt 2 of 3 of Badge Inkster, and this time it was colorful. This is the Curiosity Project. I am Bharat Gowda. I learn anything I want, earn a badge when I prove it, and document every step publicly. If that's something you want to follow, you know what to do.